Well, hey everybody, my name is Jared Malat,
My name is Mateo Galis.
and this is the Coltist, episode 22.
The
And
Body
friends,
Hill, no Body Hill, Body
Buddy
Young,
Young, yeah,
Body Young special. Yeah,
this is the Buddy Young episode. So, for those of you uninitiated, Buddy Young is his number is retired for the Colts, obviously, number 22.
yeah. So that's
Uh,
why no Colts player.
Nobody
And
wears
we were
22
thinking
in
about
case we
that's
literally
number
couldn't think
22,
about it.
and yeah,
We were like, who
no
wears
one.
22? Nobody does. I played for the Baltimore Colts at the time, and now one of the smallest players to ever play in the NFL is
Yeah,
5'4".
5'4". So if you're 5'5" or under, you can
Yeah,
still dream.
five
There
four
was a
one
guy that
seventy
made it.
five though. He's actually pretty thick if you think about it. 5'4", 175. But
Yeah,
yeah, he went to University of Illinois. He was an American football player and track and field athlete, a native of Chicago, like myself. He was
he was in the
Illinois state
military.
champ. Yep, he was drafted into the Navy. Played for a service football team. I played for a service football team. And then obviously played for the Baltimore Colts. So yeah, I'm absolutely like, first of all, ashamed sort of that I didn't know, but hey, you know what? It is Black History Month. Buddy
Oh yeah,
Young is his number was retired for the Indianapolis Colts, so it is kind of shameful.
yeah. It's appropriate.
I don't know who
Yeah,
that is, but it's apappropriate that we celebrate him
yeah.
and have
We are
this time.
remembering him now.
Hell yeah.
That's
He died in
good.
1983 in a car accident. Bro, I was born in 1983. Is this spooky?
So yeah, you're
Is it
like
spooky
it's
yet?
only like you're only difference is like you're more than a foot taller than him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big difference. So
Yeah, other
but
than you
yeah,
being
you
a
say like
football player. Yeah.
you're
But
connected to the guy.
it's just uh fatefully, right? So I'm glad to have you back. Obviously,
Yeah, great to be back.
you got to take a nice little vacation, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about what was you doing, buddy? You went camping, huh?
So yeah, it's not like camping. It's more like what we basically were doing was like you have like these sort of trekking excursions where you gather provisions. You buy the stuff you're going to use, the food, you know, everything. And then you leave for like 5 to 6 days if it's a long excursion, 2 to 3 days if it's like a short one, and you do like either a trail or you climb a mountain. You take your time, you do it really slowly, you do it like real easy. I did it with a friend. I went just like one-on-one with a friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, we basically like we love it's the Patagonia, Argentina. It's like down south in the country where it gets like really cold. So you have to go on. It's summer here right now.
Okay.
If you go on winter, it's like minus 10 degrees Celsius, which would be like I believe minus 30, 20 Fahrenheit, something like that with snow.
Ooh.
Which basically means like yeah, like planning a trekking trip with in that weather. It's almost impossible. So you have to go in summer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it took like what was it, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks more or less, because what happened was that we were climbing the Cerro Tronador, which is like the highest mountain here,
Yeah.
and we basically like it wasn't like we were caught up in an avalanche, like it wasn't that movie style where we were like climbing down a mountain and the avalanche was coming down. It was
It never
much less
happens
dramatic
like
than
that.
that.
Right.
Now it's more like we were at the base and we are like, oh shit, like avalanche warning, and we had to like first we had to settle down, and they told us like, okay, you just hang on, hang tight. It's just like a 1 day, 2 day thing, and then you can start the climb. And it was like 3 to 4 days where like the conditions did not allow us to make the descent. So we had to stay there. And at one point, you start getting like really freaked out, like, okay, we have food for like 1 day more tops, and we don't know, like we were supposedly going to be stuck here for like 1 or 2 days. It's been 4 days.
Oh
We
wow.
have food for just one more day. We don't have any signal, we don't have any sort of like ways to communicate, and we don't know if anyone's coming. So I mean, you're basically like you start thinking about like is this how I'm gonna go? Like,
Right.
really? But nah, yeah, we were never truly in danger, like
Right.
we had like several acquaintances there that knew what we were doing, and if we did not come down, they would go searching for us, and they would find us like in the refuge with the heat on, and it's not like we were truly never in any danger.
Mm.
But when you're in the situation, you start thinking like, am I in danger?
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, nah, nothing happened, like we never, like we were never truly hungry. We just like had to wait an extra day,
Yeah.
and we went down, and then we like bought supplies again, did the climb back down. That's it. It was fun, it's like it was really fun.
Yeah. I guess. So speaking of, is this the end? What I was thinking that we do for this week's episode, because for those of you following along, I've now lost about 45 pounds.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
I had my first workout last week. I got all the way through the first practice, the same conditioning everybody else does. The only thing I didn't do was a little footwork drill because at the time I was breaking in new cleats. So other than that, I got all the way through like conditioning and all that stuff. And then I got to throw a little bit, mostly short yardage stuff. No film yet, but mostly just because it was snowing and there weren't that many people there. So should be they actually moved the practice to Sunday this week, which tells me they got to be looking at putting some film out, man. And I've been, you know what I mean? I've kind of kept the gun under check at this point, so it's like eventually you got to throw and give somebody, a reason
Yeah,
to come around.
hopefully we're gonna have some film to analyze by next
Yeah.
week.
Hopefully,
So
man. I'm looking
fingers
forward to it.
crossed.
Like I said, I did my first ever kettlebell exercise workout today, so I'm excited for um it's just a interesting way to live. It's like a training part. Like I would say like full time everything except I guess pro players probably have to sit in meetings and stuff all day. So I get up about 4:30 in the morning and go to the
Yeah,
YMCA 5 days a week. I'm frequently exercising before bed. Um, not even restricting calories. How about this? So I stopped eating sugar and bread, and now
yeah,
it's difficult for me to hit like a 1,800 calorie threshold, um, which is good if you're trying to lose weight. It's bad ultimately if you're trying to gain strength because I'm
yeah.
I'm
You
not
need that.
I'm
You
not
need
eating enough
those
protein.
calories. Yeah,
I'm not eating enough protein. Um, so I figure, my weight's not like an imperative. Like nobody has laid down a gauntlet and said you got to weigh under 250 pounds to play. It's just easier to move.
yeah.
Uh, there's a reason. So for the record, for those kind of thinking
You need
about
to
it,
like.
I'm about the same size as like a Joe Burrow, Drew Brees, about 6'3", 6'4". Joe Burrow's about 215 in the off season when he's not lifting. Even then during the season, he looked like he's a little more like 230, about the same as Drew Brees. Drew Brees carries
Yeah,
about 200 pounds, 205 normally, I
yeah.
guess.
When you start talking like in pounds and stuff, I need to like have the calculator ready because I'm like, what the.
Oh yeah, you're
I
smarter.
had to like do the
Kilos and
math,
stuff.
and I'm like,
So
yeah, I'm.
basically,
What am I? I'm like right now. I'm sitting
I'm
at.
big, need to get small. Those guys carry much less weight than they do
Yeah,
during the season when you have to be bulked up to be able to take the contact that these guys take at that level because you are getting banged up. It's just normal. Get stepped on, get backed into, whatever. You got to be kind of tough. I haven't said anything because fortunately none of the injuries have lasted, but it is kind of funny that as journalists we poke fun at teams that struggle with um,
yeah, with injuries.
soft tissue injuries, but
Yeah,
I came up with a bruised foot, like just run around a basketball court by myself. Uh, Top of my foot hurt for 4 days, just randomly. Um, went up to jump two-handed to catch, or no, two-handed to shoot like a layup, and came down and my left hamstring pull. Now, fortunately, the way I'd structured my diet was to focus on recovery.
Yeah.
So like the little hammy pull went away in a couple of days, and yesterday I went to get out of my car at the Y, and I slipped on the ice and pulled my groin. So and I made a decision in the moment, which I'm hoping won't hurt me in the long run. But I thought if it's bad enough, I won't even be able to go in here and shoot around. Like I'll have to leave early. Well, I got all the way through my shoot around. I shot around for a half hour, burnt another 600 calories, and I was like, you know what? It's not a tear. It's definitely like stressed or like a, you know what I mean? So I went home, did a little
Yeah.
research. It was like, oh, whatever. I rolled it out with a foam roller and used a massager on it, and I put ice on it and heat on it. And I think ultimately it's nothing. But I will say this. I keep in mind, I'm in therapy. I'm not gonna kill myself. But you want to talk about some dark places that your mind goes when things have been going really well for you and you're really healthy and you feel like you're the fastest and the best athlete you've been in a while, and you're really taking care of your body, and then you come up limp with like a soft tissue injury. It's fucking demoralizing. So when we shit on these players, and I'm raising my voice, I'm kind of getting pissed, right? When we shit on these players for like consistently getting soft tissue injuries, go fuck yourself. Run around on turf for a while. Just give it an hour. I just want to see you jog on turf for an hour. I bet you can't do it. Not only can you not jog on turf for an hour, you probably can't jog for a fucking hour, right? So when people like shit on people like Paris Campbell for being pretty injury prone, go fuck yourself, bro. Just try. Go sprint for 15 seconds 4 times. I bet 65% of the people that listen to our podcast cannot do that. And how do I know? Because I go do it. And you know what I think? About half the time, man, I could pull up any fucking second. It could just hamstring gone.
Yeah.
It
Just
could
like
just
that.
happen.
Yeah.
It could just happen. Holy shit. Right. So for the record, how about this for a workout? And then talk to me about tough. Okay. I went to the track in the rain with snow on the track in my cleats and on the inside lane ran the start of a 40. So I did 5 down, 5 back, and then did 5 sets of 10 single leg bound. So it's where you jump from one spot to the next on one foot, and you try to keep jumping. So every time you hit the ground, it's almost like you're running, right? It's just one foot. Well, you do that about 50 reps of that, and then you do single leg bound or double leg bound. So you do both feet together, and you're trying to jump from one spot to the other. It's really taxing on your body. And to get through all that, so I'm not necessarily bragging, but I'm saying to get through all of that, as much impact and force as you put on your feet specifically. Okay. The next day when I woke up, I very easily had what I would call like plantar fasciitis, like for sure.
Yeah.
My heel hurt like a motherfucker for about half an hour, and it went away, and I'm fine. And it hasn't bothered me since, but it just gave me an immense dose of perspective, and I'm only a couple months in. I don't think I have any lingering injuries, and ultimately I'm tough as fuck. So I'll play through whatever the fuck. It don't matter unless it's my throwing arm.
Yeah.
Well, bets are off, baby. They
Some
take a
things,
finger,
yeah, some
take
things you
a
just
finger,
can't
something
play.
we're screwed, But ultimately, like it hasn't kept me out of training. So today I did. I was due for upper body anyway, and instead of driving to the gym with my limp ass, I did. My wife bought me kettlebells for Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
So
that's really sick.
I did my first kettlebell workout. And I always have to keep it in perspective. Like I have a surgically repaired shoulder, so that me doing a kettlebell workout today was like a big deal. 15 years in the making. I haven't really exercised my right arm much at all, but I'm taking it both easy, right? So that's kind of the thought process here is one arm I'm babying because
All for that, yeah.
I've got to throw and I'm old. The other arm I'm
Are
kind
you
of
a
babying.
lefty?
Yeah, I'm a left-handed. So
Oh,
yeah, so I'm kind of babying my left arm because I got to throw with it, babying my right arm because I'm disabled, right? So um, it makes weightlifting interesting, and I definitely need to get a weightlifting partner. That has to happen. But I think like I said, what'll happen is we'll get out there and throw and put some tape down. And once people see really a quarterback throwing with correct form, to be hoity-toity, when you see somebody doing it right, it tends to draw players. And I think as long as, you know, I can rehab my groin and get back to not limping around, it'll be fine. And I'm gonna have to start doing yoga or something, just to something to
Yeah.
fight something to fight the like I said, the proclivity to develop
Yeah.
soft
Yoga or
tissue injuries because I'm
Pilates.
older. Yeah, I mean
Pilates.
it's
Yeah.
I've literally thought about sitting in an ice bath or going to sit in a sauna or getting a massage, or, you know, wife and I have talked about the massagers, stuff like that. Like it's, and obviously I'm 38, right? Like, so I'm starting a little late.
Yeah, never too late. You know that phrase where
No,
it's like the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like a lifetime thing. It's not, you know, I'm not on a diet. You know what I mean? That's not how I look at it. It's just I changed how I was doing things. My focus changed. You know, everybody has dreams and things that they chase in their own, and I'm just doing it a different way. You know, I think in addition, I think the problems that you see at sort of like the pro level are a little more exacerbated at the amateur level or at the semi-pro level.
Yeah. Yeah. Surely. Yeah.
You know, like in the NFL, the home team has a little bit of a home field advantage, just a few percentage points. But in semi-pro football, it's even more pronounced, right? Like teams tend to not travel well, so that tends to be like an obstacle for your team, right? So it has its
Yeah.
own
It's not the.
unique set of
I can
challenges.
imagine it's not the same like traveling, you know, first class plane, you know, with all the
Right.
commodities and stuff. Traveling like perhaps in a bus or in your own personal car.
Yeah.
It surely must not be the same. Yeah.
Bus would be ideal, mostly because everything is close. Like we got 3 teams in Columbus, Ohio, 2 teams in Cincinnati, 2 teams in Kentucky. So it's I had the regional screwed up. I guess there was like another league that was 5 states, but this league is just Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. But yeah, so there's my program's rival is in this league, and then, like I said, the toughest teams in the country are from Columbus, Ohio. The national champion, I think last year, is from Cincinnati, and the Buccaneers, Cincinnati Buccaneers. So it's certainly, you know, it's interesting, and like I said, after watching it last year, it's the quarterback's most important position on the field for these
Yeah.
teams. You need a signal caller, almost someone that could almost run their own offense, because it, you know, it can get loud, it can get crazy and chaotic. And you find the coaches are frequently running are running triage, right? So they don't have time to call an offense, right? So that's kind of one of the things I thought about, was like, I can step in here. I need to get in better shape anyway. So I thought, with me kind of on the mend, you coming back, there's a lot of movement, and I thought, you know, why not have a podcast talking about, I think about half of the quarterbacks in the NFL are on the move, brother. And I thought, hey, I'd throw names at you and you'd say, yeah, he's definitely on the move, right? And then the deeper we get, the more question marks they have. But I think they become more obvious the farther down we go. But so for quarterbacks that we think are on the move, we don't necessarily have to say where, but it's pretty nice to have an
Yeah.
idea. For example, I went by QBR, right? Or no, rating. So for example, Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a quarterback is on the move. And then we, just to keep it moving to get through this list anyway, I think Kirk Cousins is on the move.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, you know,
Because
but
then they just hire
I
a
would
new
say
head
it's like a
coach.
50-50. Yeah, a new head coach, but they don't have like, I believe like they are drafting in the mid rounds. There are no quarterbacks this year, you know, that
Yeah.
really like
No
stand up
pronounced
and
quarterbacks.
yeah, you know, it's just one of those situations where you're thinking like they probably want to move on, but they just can't find like a better guy, and you just like are
Can't
forced to like,
find a better man.
yeah, and you just like have to settle with what you got because there are actually no other better options on the market.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
I think that Kirk Cousins is staying put.
You think he's staying put? That's fair.
Yeah.
What about Russell Wilson?
Oof. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would also say like as much as I would love to see him in a Colts uniform, I just don't see it happening.
You
I
think he
don't see the
stays in
value.
Seattle?
Yeah, I just don't see the value for any other team like trading for him, you know.
Okay.
I believe he's like from the. I haven't watched plenty of film on him, but I just believe like he's a quarterback that like having Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf with him, certainly help his style of playing. Throwing the deep ball.
Yeah.
And the teams that I thought, okay, this is a team that I would see training for him. They just don't have the players for that. The only one I could really think about was the Pittsburgh Steelers with Chase Claypool, Smith Schuster, Deontay Johnson. But I
Yeah.
just don't see it happening. My opinion with Russell is that he also stays put.
Okay. What about, well, obviously Tom Brady retired,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah,
Uh,
he's out.
What do you think about Kyler Murray scrubbing his social media?
Nah, yeah, he's staying put. There is just no way that the Cardinals like
There's
unless
no way
it's
they
like
fumble this. There's no way they fumble
nah,
this,
yeah.
right? Like,
It's just
didn't he
like
recruit DeAndre
smoke.
Hopkins? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it was that kind of like a big thing there, and
I mean,
he's been dealing too. So like,
yeah, like right now he's staying put. Perhaps if like next season he starts to struggle a bit or he has to deal with injuries and he remains like a locker room diva, then I can see the Cardinals trading him away.
yeah,
But the way the Cardinals roster is right now, you might be saying like they are in win now mode, and you just like there are no better options than Kyler Murray in the market,
right.
and he's a really good NFL quarterback. So he's staying put.
What about Jimmy G?
Yeah, Jimmy G is leaving. That's
Sorry.
no, that's like 100% sure. I mean, he even like said goodbye and everything, like in a
Mhm.
press conference, and the 49ers just gave up too much to trade up to grab Trey Lance. So yeah, Jimmy G's leaving. Trey Lance is gonna be the starting quarterback for the Niners next year. That's like I bet the house on it. Not unless Trey Lance suddenly retires. Yeah, Jimmy G's gone.
Yeah, so that's what I have. I have Trey Lance as a starter in San
Yeah.
Francisco. What about Teddy Bridgewater?
Was he starting for an NFL team when the season ended?
Denver.
See the start? Shit, Drew Lock fell
He
off
he
really
was
fast.
actually top top half of the league. I mean, he
Yeah,
finished ahead of Carson Wentz. I mean, he's
I see
ahead of
Teddy. I
Carson
see
Wentz,
Teddy
Derek
like
Carr. Yeah,
in the Steelers uniform. Like I see
yeah,
Teddy playing in the Steelers.
I
He's
could see that.
he's not bad. He's not really good, but he's not bad. He won't cost you games. But
Right.
think of it
Just
like
gotta be a dealer, man.
he reminds me a bit of like Alex Smith, but worse. Like a game manager won't make the big throws,
Hmm.
but mechanically like really sound. He has some
Yeah.
really good mechanics, some mobility. He was better before his injury, but he still has some mobility in him. I really like the guy. Yeah, that's my opinion on him.
Yeah. What about Carson Wentz, man?
Please, 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 he leaves. Hopefully, he leaves. I just what we saw from him. I mean, hopefully, a team is like dumb enough to like just look at the numbers and doesn't look at the tape, and they're like, okay, this is a guy that at one point, one stretch in the season threw for like what was it, like 20 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. He was like on paper he looked like a really good quarterback, but when you watch the film, you start looking at the touchdowns and looking at the
Yeah.
throws he makes, you're like this guy is not good. Like he would go out and make like one or two plays where you say like this guy is elite,
Yeah.
and then make like 8 to 10 plays where you're just like how the fuck do you miss that, and 1 to 2 plays where you say like this guy seriously like might be retarded.
Yeah, where he throws it and there's three defenders.
Yeah,
That.
or he just like tries the shovel with the left hand,
Oh
or
yeah, trying to do too much.
yeah, or no, yeah,
It's
where
the
you're just
hallmark of
like
a tryhard.
yeah, and I really believe like Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay like really did not like the whole vaccination status.
Yeah.
I think that also has to take a toll on them, and the fact that supposedly Carson Wentz is not like a great leader or a great presence in the locker room. So I would say he's gone. Yeah, he's probably gone.
And let's talk about future Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback Derek Carr.
Love the guy.
Yeah. So Gus Bradley got hired to lure Derek Carr. There, spoiler alert. For those of you following along, I've been saying it forever. Chris Ballard plays his cards face up. Been saying it all along. That motherfucker would literally beat you in spades. He hired one of the better secondary teachers in the NFL, specifically because it is so difficult to generate a pass rush because all these offenses are designed to get the ball out quick. But yeah, so Derek Carr is on the list. The quarterback's on the move. I absolutely think the Colts are a potential landing spot for him. And you'll notice I didn't say that for anyone else. So that's where I'm laying my egg. And then Matt Ryan with Atlanta.
Yeah, I honestly like for Matt
I have
Ryan,
to think they're breaking up. I have to think.
Yeah, for me too. I believe that Atlanta is one of the few teams that will rock out as a rookie starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah, Matt Ryan's probably gone. I just don't see like which team would trade for him. Like where does he fit? Like perhaps the Tampa, New Orleans, perhaps, he just like pulls off like a fuck you Falcons move and goes to the Saints.
I mean, again, and these are just guys where I was like, based on their relationship, oh man, that's really sour. I don't know if I could see them going back. Right. So I don't know where he's going. I just don't think he's go back to Atlanta. And then I put Ryan Tannehill on the list, mostly poking fun at Titans fans because there's dumb uptight, who ultimately I expect will probably be the starter day one in Tennessee, mostly because I can't see that anyone else in the league would want him.
Yeah. With that terrible contract and how poor he was in the later.
Yeah.
I believe the Titans started to sound like big regression because I mean no disrespect to them, they had an amazing season. Their pass rush was a beautiful thing to watch, Jeffrey Simmons, Denico Autry, Harold Landry, that was amazing to watch.
Yeah,
but they just got way too much lucky wins. I believe it was like 5 or 6 like very lucky wins. Like I remember the one against the Bills where Josh Allen fails to convert on the 4th and 1, then the overtime win against us, the one against the Rams, where it's just this is not going to happen again next season.
Right.
I just don't. Their luck has to run out at one point, and I believe it will be like next season.
Speaking of luck running out, Ben Roethlisberger retired. So this obviously we talked about the Steelers need a new quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger, he's done. And then also I'd seen a lot of teams projecting Washington to draft a quarterback. So I added Taylor Heineke to the list. I'm not saying he won't beat out whoever they draft because I actually like the kid. But I just keep seeing Washington's drafting a quarterback, which again sounds like every season to me. And then Baker Mayfield is
I don't think the Browns give up on him just yet.
Just yet? Okay.
Probably another season before they give him. He was the number 1 overall pick on what is he like entering his 4th year? Is it right now? Hasn't shown much yet, but you did invest a first overall pick in him, so I believe they give him one more season. If he continues to show no signs of improvement at all, then he's out.
Yeah.
But the
I do feel bad for Baker Mayfield. He has not had consistent coaching staff. So
but he hasn't. I mean, he hasn't shown enough to me, talent wise, where I'm just like, this is a guy that could do a lot with a proper coaching staff. It's not like I have seen him make really terrific throws or escape the pocket or show that he cares about the game of football enough to make the improvements.
Yeah,
I believe he can be a good NFL quarterback, not great. His ceiling is perhaps a fringe Pro Bowl caliber quarterback.
Yeah, I have him around 14. In terms of potential. Sam Darnold. Again, that's Carolina. It was him and Cam.
He will even be. I don't believe he will even be starting. Sam Darnold was my favorite. That was the guy I wanted Colts to trade for.
Right.
I love the guy coming out of USC,
Mm-hmm.
but he hasn't shown like I believe like the guy he should have stayed in college like one more year perhaps
Mm.
because what was like how much what did he have like one full season, two full seasons in college? Certainly not enough in my what let
Yeah, I
me
think he
check.
got injured in college too. So like he missed
Yeah,
time.
he had two full seasons in college. He had his freshman year where he threw for 31 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Second year he struggled a bit, but
Yep.
now he for me quarterbacks, you really have to take a look into what kind of situation they're drafted in because Patrick Mahomes he was drafted like he had a year to develop. He had plenty of weapons. He has an offensive mastermind in Andy Reid. Josh Allen has plenty of weapons and stuff. And then you look at Sam Darnold and you think, poor guy, he was drafted by the New York Jets, who are a terribly run organization.
Yeah.
No weapons, no coaching stability, just a terrible situation around to be drafted in. But yeah, you just have to wonder like, is this guy ruined for good, or can you turn him around with a like could Frank Reich turn him around? But I don't want any more reclamation projects. Like I just want an
Right.
established starter like Derek Carr to come in and like this is not like a fix me type of player. This is a guy that that can come in and play. I want
Right.
something like that. I don't want a Sam Darnold.
And then of course I have Davis Mills, who was the Houston
Yeah.
starter. I can't imagine he's the day one starter there. And then I'm assuming we added a few quarterbacks that I thought were on the move, you kind of said, hey, I think they're staying put. Fair enough. I have these lists of quarterbacks staying put. And I'm assuming some of these we think may actually be on the move. So I'm super interested to hear your thoughts here. Obviously, I think a pretty obvious Joe Burrow starting in
Yeah.
Cincinnati day one, and Matt Stafford definitely starting day one and for
Yeah.
LA. So to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
to the two
Those are
teams in the
like the
finals. And then of course, like a Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Mac Jones, Josh Allen. You
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
know
yeah.
all those guys aren't going anywhere. My
Yeah,
first
logically, yeah.
question mark in terms of sort of quality of quarterback, where I'm like, well, what the fuck are they gonna do? Dak Prescott in Dallas.
Nah, he's staying put.
Staying in Dallas. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ezekiel Elliott might be leaving. Yeah, I just nah, yeah, the Dak Prescott is staying in a Cowboys uniform, if you ask me. No
Okay.
chance on earth he's leaving.
And my next question mark, uh, really, I said I don't really have one. So I said Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Matt Collins, Josh Allen,
Yeah.
Jared Goff in Detroit, Tua.
Mm, Tua, I don't know. Like I honestly would not be surprised if like say for example like a situation that I can definitely see happening is like for example the Washington what is it like the Washington Commanders are they now officially
They're the
like what you
Washington
call them?
Commanders.
Okay, the Washington Commanders like draft a quarterback and they trade Taylor Heineke away to the Dolphins. And
Mhm.
Taylor Heineke then goes out and beats Tua Tagovailoa for the starting job. That's like a situation that I could say wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
Like Tua getting either Tua or Jared Goff, getting beat by a veteran that's coming in. Say a Matt Ryan, Taylor Heineke, someone like that.
Hmm. So
But
I
if I
have,
had to, yeah, if I had to bet, I would say Tua and Jared Goff are starting for the Lions and the Dolphins.
and then Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, oof, that's he did lead them to the playoff. He showed like
Right.
really good leadership. He showed improvements.
Mm-hmm.
I see no reason why they would want to like walk
Move
away
on
from
from.
him.
Right. You would want to invest in
Perhaps,
him.
the Philadelphia Eagles are like one of the few teams that I probably see trading for Russell Wilson. So unless they trade for Russell Wilson and then Jalen Hurts like leaves for the Seahawks, I just don't see a way that Jalen is not starting for Philadelphia week 1.
And then Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
no,
entrenched starter in Baltimore. He's not going anywhere. Daniel
yeah,
Jones.
yeah.
He's my other guy that I'm like, I hate to say it because he hasn't had a lot of success, and a lot of football fans would be unhappy hearing me say like Daniel Jones surprisingly plays pretty well.
Yeah,
Like he's actually not
he
a bad.
surprised he surprised me this year. He certainly he showed like he
But
showed promise. He showed
he's had such
improvements.
a shit time in New York though that it makes me think he could move. And I get it. I wouldn't want to move off him, but that organization is run horribly. I could see him wanting to get out. I'm not saying Indianapolis is his landing spot at all. Like I said, put all my chips on Derek Carr. But then like Justin Fields, um, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, all these young athletes, by the way, Mac Jones is worst athlete on this list of quarterbacks staying put. So yeah, I noticed particularly the sort of lack of athleticism in quarterbacks on the move, and then the thing I noticed here is a lot of athletes on this list, better athletes anyway, that are just staying put, entrenched starters. So that of course gives me motivation, right? You don't want to be a statue back there. You got to be able to move a little bit.
Yeah. We certainly have. You know
Yeah.
that the one player where we didn't mention, but I
Yeah. Who
would
do we not
honestly
mention?
like. It's not like I would say he's like a dark horse contender. You know, like if the Packers manage to retain Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
I would really love the Colts to trade for Jordan Love.
So I heard the rumor that Jordan Love was like working out or something like that for the Colts, or that he was throwing for somebody. So of course I don't know if that's the direction I'm going. See, my thing is Jim Irsay said he was all in, and I can't imagine them getting somebody
Yeah, who
like
didn't play?
older or who didn't play, right? Or older.
Yeah, you know, like
I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo's athletic enough
mm,
that you can put money in him, but I do think Derek Carr is a little more.
nah, yeah, of course. My favorite option would certainly be Derek Carr, you know, because you're also getting like a proven starter. And how
Right.
old is he? Like 31,
Yeah,
30?
he's pretty young. Yeah, he's got plenty of
So
time left.
you definitely get like 7 to 10 years out of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
especially if you could keep him
he's
upright.
30. Yeah,
Yeah.
30, going to turn 31,
Mm-hmm.
31 on March. So
Mm-hmm.
you certainly can get like 6 to 8 years from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
he always played like really well against the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps, you know, that works for him. So
He was 10-7. He was 10-7 last year. Completed 68% of his passes. 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He's was a little turnover prone, but again, I'd argue. Well, I don't know. Obviously, that organization has proven to be a dumpster fire. So
yeah, you know,
not.
you have to take into account that like halfway through the year, like the thing with Gruden happened.
Yep.
So a change of head coach in the middle of the year with all the drama and all the scandals. So it has to account for some like of the volatility.
Right.
But yeah, that's a guy I definitely like. That's my favorite. That's my go-to guy.
Yeah. We basically in the Super Bowl, from everybody's perspective, we got a boring game. I think it kind of showed you how a pass rush can absolutely affect an outcome and how important that is. Obviously,
Yeah.
secondary play was a whole nother thing that you sort of saw there. I saw playing really good situational football. It's why those key veterans are like super important. So I don't know. I think the more chaos that I expect, the more I expect the Colts to get the better of it. And I think that, one of the things that I try to pay attention to are what are people's thoughts on the class as a whole as we move toward the combine and draft. And a lot of people are saying, this is going to be one of those drafts where starters are drafted in the first 3 rounds, but there are no marquee players, no blue chip talent, no day one starter at quarterback. There's guys that are going to have to do the job, but by all accounts, at this point right now, there's every expectation is any of these quarterbacks drafted as a backup. It's a start, and there's no first round running back. There's some wide receiver talent. There's wide receiver talent every year. Not like super good offensive linemen. So again, kind of going to be one of those drafts that goes under the radar. As a couple, about half of the last, I can say about 2 of the last 4 drafts have kind of been that way. Not necessarily great players, but plenty of depth, and that tends to be where the Colts are doing well. The one thing I want to make sure we did hit up before we left, a couple of the guys that we talked to in our little Slack chat had been sort of talking about the Colts trading Carson Wentz and getting something for him. So without stealing somebody else's thunder, one, I don't think it's hard for me to see the Colts leveraging Wentz worthy of a first round draft pick in trade.
No, impossible. Yeah. If Chris Ballard can get a first round pick out of Carson Wentz,
let him do whatever he wants forever.
Yeah.
Build the statue today. That's how I agree with you. It's just such a unbelievable that's even like a string of thought where someone's like, I'm gonna write a whole article about the Colts getting a first round draft pick out of Carson Wentz. I think they're just gonna have to put their chips down and go after someone else, or do like a sign and trade to try to get something. I think he's worth something. I think one of the guys had said, and again, I don't want to steal someone's premise because these guys got to feed themselves too. But one of the guys that a coach that comes up as he could actually use a Carson Wentz like player is like a Bruce Arians, right? And Tom Brady has just retired, so Tampa is gonna want to reload. And the thing about the way Tampa's built just like the Rams are built to win now. So that makes me wonder: once Tampa buckle and they fall apart, or do they reload with that again? There's a lot of teams I can anticipate them being what we call like quarterback hungry, right? And so there's in addition to teams having quarterbacks retire, there are guys that are just straight up leaving, and then there are the Colts, obviously, who are in this weird spot where it's really crazy. I cannot believe that within like a 1-year window, the Colts trade basically a first round draft pick for a quarterback, and in 1 year the news cycle is cut him. You know what I mean? Like that's a far fall. And they haven't seen or heard anything out of Carson Wentz. And again, that it kind of not surprised, but also kind of wondering how that'll impact what happens in the future here, right? Because obviously Jim Irsay is pissed, and by all means should be. But Jim Irsay's pissed. So I don't know. It makes me wonder what's going to happen here. Are Colts going to make a big move? I can't fathom. I can't see Carson Wentz starting for the Colts day one. There's just been too much.
Yeah.
There's been too much
baggage.
Too much a brew. You know what I mean? Like it would be different if I felt like I saw him connecting with the city, right?
And he did, yeah.
You don't hear him on the radio. He ain't selling no tickets. You don't see newspaper articles where he's doing camps. That tells me they didn't completely unpack. And
he did have like that Kingdom Come, like the food truck, community service. I remember like watching that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like I didn't see him like connecting with the city the way like I believe, Philip Rivers did, Andrew Luck did.
Right.
So yeah, just I don't think he's going to be the Colts starting quarterback next season.
It just doesn't feel like the
And
guy.
it's probably like for the best, like
Yeah.
he's not the guy that's gonna get you there. And kudos to the Colts, for like realizing and not wanting to like continue forcing the mistake and trying to see if it works. Like I truly did not believe that Reich was going to like have the balls to like recognize that he was wrong. But yeah, it's hopefully gonna be for the best.
So yeah, I think there aren't very many people I'd want to be less than a Carson Wentz. It's just the farther we get away from the regular season, the less good things you hear, and generally, my thought process is that the less good things you hear, the farther that person will be from your organization. Come like, and the thing that I almost sent it to the chat, but I was so conflicted, is that it is a double-edged sword in that you don't want to make a rush decision here and be wrong, but it's almost like you need to find the guy. It's almost being, you know what I mean, like 30 and desperate, right? Gotta make babies, right? It's the same thing
Yeah,
here. Like the Colts are in shit or get off the pot mode. Like, guys' jobs are in the balance. Jim Irsay saying to Frank Reich, "You fuck up like that again, it's over. Like I'll fire you so fast you'll never fucking work again." You know what I mean? Like I know there's got to be some immediacy here, and I'm hoping it gets squared away right away. Right, like you just get it over with, get that person entrenched, and then have them, take the reins, be the leader. Of course, I'll always in my mind, back of my mind, wonder if it's Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams wearing blue and white, right? So that's a
yeah,
thing in my back of my mind too, where I'm like, I kind of feel like they come as a package deal. I feel like they've burnt the bridges. You know what I mean?
the Green Bay, yeah,
In Green Bay, I think that relationship's kind of sour, and I think I don't know. I don't even know if the Colts could afford that. So I'm again not that well researched. Where I'm like, yeah, the Colts could do that, and this is how. That's not even what I'm saying is I'm betting pretty squarely on Derek Carr, but like I said, anything could really happen. The all in thing from Jim Irsay always makes me think it's got to be something bigger than a Derek Carr, right? But again, Derek Carr kind of makes sense because the Colts hired Gus Bradley, who was he's a DC,
yeah,
Las Vegas, so it kind of makes sense that you get one to get the other. And it's basically you get the best out of that org, right? You take their DC
yeah,
that was
yeah,
actually good at his job, and then get their quarterback too. It'd be a big win for the Colts, especially if in the meantime they're able to actually get something out of Carson Wentz. So I guess that's sort of the twofold mission the Colts have right now is like, how do we unload Carson Wentz, and then because the reason I say it like that is because I can't see a team trading for Carson Wentz.
yeah.
I don't think that happens, and not player for player.
Yeah, it really happens. Yeah,
It just doesn't really happen. It's not, it's far more likely Colts get a second and a third round pick
yeah, we'll be
for
happy with
Carson
that.
Wentz.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You'd be happy with that. Uh, Chris Ballard makes his money in the middle part of that draft anyway. In the middle part of the draft
yeah,
anyway. So it
yeah. It
plays
really
into
works.
it plays, and then ultimately, not the more I think about it. In fact, they just got like sweats, so I'm pretty sure that means I'm right. They'll end up trading Carson Wentz for a couple picks, and then ultimately figuring it out. So yeah. So by the way, I think the difference between good and great quarterbacks is being decisive and guessing and sort of guessing correctly more often than not. It has to be the way you train and then you go out there and throw and you realize you have to play as if there's no defense. You just have to go out there and everything is like a timing route or throwing with anticipation, right? Or you're throwing this ball because of what you saw pre-snap, and just expecting that the guy on the other end is gonna do his job. So I don't know. I feel like I said, my big thing is that the Colts have to get a guy in here because I don't see Carson Wentz in the weight room taking pictures, posted on social media, right? It's Darius Leonard in the gym, right, today on social media, posting pictures. In my opinion, you need that to be your signal caller. You need it to be your quarterback to rally the troops, because once you have the quarterback figured out, everything starts to fall in place, man. I'm telling you,
back in place,
everybody, I can promise you, for example, when Matt Stafford showed up in LA, and after apparently, by the way, they met in Sean McVay and Matt Stafford met in Mexico and had a conversation. And then they moved heaven and earth to get him and won a Super Bowl. So we need that kind of magic
moment.
Right. It can't be this happily chanting Bible verses to each other like Far Cry antagonists. It's got to be a little more legit relationship. And like I said, I think Derek Carr is the kind of competitor that has given the Colts hell. And God forbid it's Ryan Tannehill, because that's sort of your alternative, right? He has beat the Colts lately, and there's certainly organizations that look at the wrong shit, and how your team's done against mine lately is certainly not necessarily relevant to your quarterback's play. But yeah, so let's get out of here. We've kind of chatted around. We talked who we thought's leaving, who we thought's staying. We definitely think Carson Wentz is on the move. Such an odd spot for my man, and not my man at all. But yeah, so we'll get an episode out next week. I'll have some film one way or the other. I'm gonna try to work it out. I know one of my teammates has a GoPro he's trying to get rid of, so I'm gonna see if he'll use it. And then I've got one, and
hopefully we'll have film too on us next week. No, I just want to give a quick shout out to my friend. We call him the El Topo.
Mm-hmm.
He watches the episodes, and he told me like, you give me a shout out. So shout out to you, Topo.
Yeah, hell yeah. You said Topo, like T-O-P-O?
Yeah.
What's up, Topo? So yes, it's been episode 22. What do we say? What we say the dude's name was? Buddy Young.
Buddy Young. The Buddy Young special.
The Chicago native. But yeah. Guys, have a great rest of your week.
See you next
week.
Stay
safe out there. We'll see you next week, man.